I'm just trying this out so that we know whether it will work out or not, okay?
What happens if it doesn't catch your lovely voice?
No. Where are we up to? Part of 12C. Headphones out, please. No headphones inside. Okay? No headphones. Harry, you weren't here last few days, so basically, we've all been told that there's no music. Okay? The only time you're allowed headphones in class is if you're listening to a lesson. Okay? It's not my rules. The whole school. Yeah? The whole idea is to help you get into exam mode. So to help you get conditions so that you can focus without any external apparatus. Okay, now, previously we've talked about the rules. We've talked about the rules for the state matrix of a system after n steps, right? Today we're going to continue with the steady state solution, page 441. Is that right? No? 437? Okay, cool. That's right. Thank you. Now, actually, can you read it, please? We return again.
We return again to the car rental problem. The car rental firm now plans to buy 9 new cars. 50 will be based in Bendigo and 40 in Colac. Given this pattern of rental car returns, the first question the manager would like answered is, if we start with 50 cars in Bendigo and 40 cars in Colac, how many cars will be available for rent at both towns after 1 week or 2 weeks? You have met this type of problem earlier when doing financial modelling updates. For example, if we invest $1,000 at an interest rate of 5% per annum, how much will we have after 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, etc.? We solve this type of problem by using the recurrence relation to model the growth in our investment year by year. We do the same with the car rental problem, the only difference being that we are now working with matrices.
Okay, thank you. Now, we are starting to get into the more interesting parts of matrices that you haven't done before, okay? So basically, there's little value in doing something if you don't think that's useful for you to help you, okay? So if you look at the question that the manager asked, if we start with 50 cars in Bendigo and 40 cars in Colac, how many cars will be available for rent at both towns after 1 week, 2 weeks, and so on? Basically, it captures the reason quite well, okay? You are doing this and we are learning about matrices because it helps us make forecasts, right? If you're going to run a business, it only makes sense if you can predict or best predict what might happen so that you can plan ahead. Does that make sense? So far? Easy? Okay? Now, I'm going to show you a few things on the board, but it may or may not come from the book, okay? So please pay attention. As I mentioned before, the important thing about matrices is what the numbers mean. Because you can do everything else, the calculations, using your calculator. But it's of no use to you unless you actually know what the numbers mean, okay? So let's have a look at this question. Now, constructing a matrix recurrence relation. Recurrence means it keeps on repeating. It makes sense because you want to look at things after 1 week, after 2 weeks, after 3 weeks, and so on and so forth. The pattern keeps on repeating, okay? So, you start with a starting point. In this case, it is the initial state matrix, S0, or more professionally, you call it S0, not for 0, okay? Now it goes, S0 is equals to 50, 40. It's a column matrix. 50 is for Bendigo, 40 is for Colac. So far, happy? Any questions? questions?
I've got a cool one about
No? Good. Okay. Now, to generate S1, okay, you go S1 is equals to transition matrix times S naught. So let's write this out. I need all my colors. How do I describe the columns? What are the numbers in the columns? Michaela? What's 0.8 represent?
Guys, after we watch this, I'm going to come around and try and make you some other things that I didn't make this last session.
James?
And I'll do that for the next video.
80%? What is 80% in the example? Is it collect, returning to collect? Bendigo returning to Bendigo. So we're doing the example in the book, okay? So this is from. That should be the first thing you decide, okay? You want the from to be here, to be the rows. So from Bendigo to Bendigo. This will be collect and collect. Okay?
Some people do. And
Today we learned that it's called the transition matrix. So this is T. Then you've got the first state. S for state. S naught is the first state. You've got 50 and 40. Okay, that's Bendigo and collect. So far, happy? To work out how to figure out the returns and so on for the next state. You go after 1 week, state 1, this is initial.
One of the first, strong female
This is state 1 is transition matrix times the initial state. Okay?
But this is, she was one of the first really strong female characters. The other show program that I would really love to have gone to watch but we don't is the original series of Star Trek. It's one of the first programs that had not only strong female characters but strong black female characters, which is just unheard of. If you compare that to what we know from watching stuff like Leave It to Beaver, you can see how you think, wow, that's, or even the Jetsons. Does anyone
Do we agree
somebody about this?
that this is how it works? Did I make a mistake?
Does anyone else got any idea why?
Cross and down. First one times first one plus second one times second one. Yeah? Okay. Now, let's
So if
look
they're not
at
thinking, or I guess
right at the very beginning, right? I believe that you've got Bendigo, collect,
they're looking at the atoms,
and then the graph, the diagram looks like this.
I think you had a lot more leeway to maybe
Right?
show
Okay.
because
Now,
when we talk about
what we have now,
stuff,
Sam, are you
there's
here?
a reason why TV shows and stuff
What we
are-
have now
if you
is
look at stuff like modern
the
films,
next
we
thing.
talk about
So, at the very beginning, we know that at Bendigo there are
shows
50 cars.
probably more emerging social values as far as that
Collect 40
but
cars.
they're still
Right?
pretty
Okay?
other social
Now, if the
social
question
values
is
are
phrased this way,
accepted as emerging values
if you
now.
start off with 50
They
cars
still don't have,
and 80% is returned to the same place, right? We started off with 50 cars at Bendigo and 80% will be returned to Bendigo. How would you work out how many cars is returned to Bendigo? You go, the whole lot is 50, right? 80% is returned to Bendigo then you want to work out how big that is. Things that you've learned since prep, right? 80% of 50, right? So it'll be 80% times 50. So far, happy? 80% times 50 gives you the number of cars that's returned to Bendigo. Does that make sense? Do we agree that that's the logic?
Yeah. And I think I read somewhere like the thing about fast cycles and they're kind of like they
So this one,
because I mean it's definitely
when you get this value represents number of cars from Bendigo return to Bendigo.
The reason why
Okay?
they do stuff
That part.
it's not actually
What's 0.1 times 40? What does that number represent? Eric? 0.1 times 40. How many cars from C to B? Yeah? Number of cars borrowed from, collect, return to Bendigo. Okay? So far, happy? Tariq, what's 0.2 times 50?
You know, man is the breadwinner, the woman is the carer. You know, to be a man, you must be doing sports and
Josh?
that sort of thing.
From Bendigo to collect.
Borrowed from Bendigo to collect
Social value.
because this
But
is
your
Bendigo.
oppositional, what's kind of the oppositional social value? That's probably happening in the 19th.
Right? So 0.2,
Yeah, right. Free love.
0.2 is borrowed from
Kind of a different sort of ideas and
collect.
you guys are good with it.
Did I get that right?
But
BC, BC,
the
BC.
idea was that whenever a
Number of cars
yeah.
from
Basically, like there was
collect,
with cool. Like
return
everyone,
to.
they're putting in your line. With
What?
jets, with
No.
with the military.
0.2.
And hey, and and bring up.
From Bendigo,
Yeah, well, but
return to collect.
yeah, and basically, you know, that we should.
Is that what you said?
Very,
Or did you say the opposite?
like essential sort of like that. Just
Yeah,
based on,
okay. So, sorry?
Like
Did
without,
I get it mixed up? Is the number? I'm pretty sure the numbers are correct.
and that would be.
Is it a mistake? Is there a mistake?
And in certain places in America, like that was.
Actually, what's this one?
And
The number of
maybe
cars
different
from
from
Poland
that. About now, it's different for us to imagine because obviously we still have subcultures and we also we have age.
Okay?
That
So,
sort of stuff, but it's kind of like that.
0.8 times 50. Oh, so should be 40. 0.1 times 40 plus 4 10 plus 36. So you got 44 and 46. So far? Okay with that? Yes, no, kind of.
But it was, you know, at the time, for these people in that place, it was kind of a new world order.
The important thing is the thing in orange. Okay? The important thing is the thing in orange. You must understand where it comes from. From B, return to B.
And your emerging social values is
From
kind of
B
interesting.
to C.
Emerging social values,
That's
yeah, we're still
0.2.
gonna have a really nice
Okay?
family life. We're still gonna go to work.
From C to B, C to B, and C to C. Okay? So far, happy? The transition matrix tells you the things in orange. Okay? The transition matrix tells you the information in orange. Which is the important thing. Okay? So far, happy? Straightforward. The way you work it out is using the word of is times. Okay? So now I've got 2 additional questions which are not in the textbook. Okay? First one. The one in green. green first. If I change the transition matrix, I need you to do it in your books so that every single person practice yourselves, okay? The second question is the one in green, okay? The transition matrix. If I set it up this way, what are the values? Okay? Then how do you find out what happens after 1 week? That's question number 1. If you can do this, it shows that you know how it works. Yeah? Question number 2. If you get question number 2, which is in purple, if you get that correct, okay, you'll be given 15 minutes to work on these 2 things. If you get question number 2 correct, you get a chocolate frog, and you win the right to listen to music for the next 2 sessions instead of listening to me. Okay?